Great. Amazing. We have 3. We are starting to see attendees filter in. Exciting, exciting. Welcome, everybody. We're just gonna wait a couple minutes to get started while we wait for people to join. I am Maggie. I am the Director of Community here at TSPA, and I have Charlotte and Crystalline with me. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Charlotte. I am Executive Director here at TSPA, and this is going to be my 3rd TrustCon of 3.
3. Wow, repeat.
Wow.
Hi, everyone. I'm Crystalline Berry. I'm the Events and Comms Manager here at TSPA, and I'm excited to see everyone next month.
Amazing. Well, while we're waiting for everybody to filter in, I know that our team has been talking a lot about our own wellness, and I thought it'd be fun to share something that you do when you go to a conference for your own self-care. And actually, I'm remembering, Crystalline, you and I attended the first TrustCon as attendees, so we can even talk about that. But what do the 2 of you do? Charlotte, maybe you want to start for your own self-care when you attend a conference.
Great question. So I am an introvert, which is funny because then I took this job. But I find I just need to be intentional about getting some quiet time. And I think that's probably helpful even if you're not an introvert. It can be, I think, really absorbing when you're like, oh, I want to go to all these things. And there's all like these sessions and I saw someone in the hallway. And then you realize like kind of too late, like, wow, my battery is really low. I find it helpful to go outside, touch a little grass, and just remind myself that like, hey, there is a world beyond where you're inside right now. And you're going to get back to it.
Love that. Crystalline, what about you?
So I was going to say the same thing. I love getting some sun. We are going to be right across the street from the Embarcadero. So if you love water, like I do, water is very calming for me. So even fountains, waterfalls, anything that I'm near, I love to be near it. So just like getting out, like Charlotte said, getting some vitamin D, some sun, and at least taking a nice little walk around the block for sure.
Love it. And I'll go quickly because it looks like we have 24 attendees, so we can kick this off pretty soon here. I would say that my top one is cultivating like the energy of flexibility, because I'm one of those people that will look at a conference agenda ahead of time and like optimize. Like I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna take 5 minutes to pee, and then I'm gonna do that. And like if I then all of a sudden day of, it's like maybe this session's full, or maybe I'm actually way more tired, or I got caught up talking to someone, and like I can get thrown if I'm like, wait, but I'm missing my plan. So I try to go in with flexibility. My other one is that I always take hydrating face masks with me because it's a lot of indoor air time. So I feel like hydrating my skin helps me. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to kick us off. Welcome, everybody. If you are here, hopefully you're in the right session. There is another session called Know Before You Go, but it is for speakers. You are welcome to attend both, but just so you know, this is the attendee version. I am here with Crystalline and Charlotte. We are recording this session, so if you have folks on your team who you would like to pass this to, or you know other people going, please share this with them. Last year, we got a lot of great feedback on this session, so hopefully you can get all of your questions answered today. The Q&A box is open. We're going to start today. It's kind of a casual session. We're going to start today with going over some need to know information and just some of the commonly asked questions that we have that come up around registration. Crystalline's going to cover that. Then we're going to move on to programming, which will be covered by Charlotte. And finally, I'll wrap us up with community and networking opportunities. And then we'll just open it up to Q&A. The Q&A box is open. You are welcome to ask questions as we go, because we may be able to just cover some of them throughout, like when we're already talking. And then we'll also open it up at the very end. So either way, go ahead and pop those questions in the Q&A box and we will get to them either spoken or in writing. And with that, I will kick it off to Crystalline to talk about registration.
Oops. Well, awesome. So we have received so many questions about registration. Do we have tickets? Yes, we still have tickets. As of this recording, June 18th, 9:06 Pacific time, we do still have a good amount of tickets. However, we do want to advise folks, because we usually do sell out. So we want to advise folks to get their tickets as soon as possible. And if you have questions about the discounts that you could receive, because we do offer a ton of discounts to folks who, if you're a student, if you've been recently laid off, if you live in a low or middle income country, so many things that, and some of our discounts do combine to get the best possible rate. We really want everyone who really wants to come to this event to come to this event. So reach out to us if you have any questions about the discounts. And just a note about the discounts, if you do register and receive the discounts, you'll see the discount code at checkout. So it'll be at the top of the screen at checkout, and then the first box at the top to apply the code, drop it in there, and you'll receive the discount. In terms of financial assistance, we've currently allocated all the funds. So we've had a wonderful, just really overwhelming response, and we've tried to accommodate as many folks as possible. But currently, we are out of financial assistance. So reach out to us if you have questions about that. And then you may be on a team that's coming, and you're looking, and that person may leave, or somebody may be out. If you need to do transfers, we ask that you do those before July 9th. And registration is also closing July 9th as well. So get those tickets. I probably said that like 5 times. But the transfers, we have this on our FAQ site as well. But for transfers, we ask that the ticket be exchanged if the ticket is an equal exchange. So if discounts were applied on that ticket, we ask that the same person could also use the same discounts. It just makes it easier for us to switch over and not have to retool everything. In terms of refunds, we also offer refunds until July 9th. So registration, by all means, please register as soon as possible. And hopefully if you're here, you're already registered. So moving on to hotels and our hotel block. This has been such a fun process for us this year. We have sold out of rooms twice. We are on our 3rd hotel block with the Hyatt Regency. So currently we still have rooms at the Hyatt Regency at $329 a night. So if you need hotel rooms, the link is also on our website and at the end of the registration. So if you need a hotel room, please book that as soon as possible. However, if by the time you listen to this recording, we are out of hotel rooms, there are alternative hotels near the Hyatt Regency. A good rule of thumb is to always look at the reviews before booking the hotel, mainly because San Francisco does have hotels that are in areas that aren't necessarily the best, but they may be cheap. So read the reviews beforehand, and join us there. So that is the hotel block. And then last but not least, just at TrustCon, pre-registration will be on Sunday, the 21st. It'll be in the ballroom foyer. You'll be able to pick up your name badge beforehand, get a little treat beforehand. We're, offering a couple snacks, and just kind of beat the rush before the next day. So definitely join us for pre-registration. We'll also have pre-check, which will also be kind of like our info desk for TrustCon as well. Parking and transportation. There are so many ways to get to the Hyatt Regency, which was something that when we were looking at this venue, that we found to be really, really helpful. So both as close to SFO and the Oakland airports by the BART. There's a BART stop about 2 blocks away from the hotel. And taxis, ride shares are very familiar with the Hyatt Regency. And then there's also the San Francisco ferry that picks up right across the street. And the bus system is great. So definitely you'll have all sorts of opportunities to get there.
Hey,
Meal,
Crystalline,
yeah.
when you're telling your Uber driver or you're navigating on the Muni or whatever you're doing, and you're going to the Hyatt Regency, which Hyatt Regency are you going to?
That is such a good question, Charlotte. The Hyatt Regency San Francisco. Thank you for that reminder. There are a couple Hyatt Regencies in San Francisco, but you want to go to the one that is the name of the city, Hyatt Regency San Francisco. And
That's
that is,
on the Embarcadero.
yes,
On the
Hyatt.
Embarcadero, which I should note, after TrustCon last year, I got drinks with a friend and I was really pushing it on when I was supposed to go home and pack up and get on my flight. And I definitely put in walking directions to the wrong Hyatt myself. Then I got my hairbrush stuck in my hair. No, I got my like hair clip stuck in my hair and a stranger had to help me get it out. So it was a whole thing. So don't be me. Remember Embarcadero in your brain so that you can make it on to TrustCon on time.
This is
Hopefully,
like a great San Francisco movie plot, though. I feel like in our alternative world of cinematographers, we're set.
It's true.
I love that. So, yes, come to the Hyatt Regency San Francisco. It is 5 Embarcadero Center. Um, I believe the zip code is 94111. I've looked at this address so many times. The fact that I know it by heart. So 5 Embarcadero Center is the address. In terms of meals, so many, lots of food options, obviously in and around the hotel. We will be offering lunch, very great lunch. If you were at TrustCon last year, we got rave reviews on the lunch. So the lunch, we'll do a nice continental breakfast in the morning, and we will have all day coffee and drinks throughout the day. We have a good amount of receptions and birds of a feather, which we'll discuss a little bit later, that will be offering meals as well or snacks of some sort. So you will be fed, I think, really well throughout the event. Last but not least, where to find help. We will be around pretty much, we'll have volunteers and staff across all of the floors. We're taking over the entire venue this year. If you were here last year, we had about probably 75% of the venue. This year, we're taking over everything. So we'll have staff and volunteers on all 3 floors. If you need to find us, we'll be wearing these orange lanyards with our name badges. We'll have floor monitors on every floor. The reg desk will be on the first floor when you walk in. So if you need folks, we'll be right on the ballroom level at all times throughout the conference, or at least have volunteers there. We'll also have a help desk and floor monitors if you're looking for a room, or if you're looking for where am I supposed to be, what floor you're supposed to be. We will also have floor monitors who can direct you to each room. So you'll be covered on all bases coming to TrustCon this year.
Question for you before we move on to Charlotte. Question, I'm vegan. It would be nice to know if the food provided breakfast, lunch, and snacks will cater to dietary requirements. And also, this is not part of this question, but where should people let us know about dietary restrictions would also be helpful to let folks know.
Thank you for this question. This is great. Yes, we will have vegan options available for all meals. For folks who have specific dietary restrictions like kosher and halal, we ask that you put them in the registration. I generally email those folks a couple weeks or at least a week or 2 before the event to let them know that this has been recorded in our registration, and I communicate to the hotel how many folks who need very specific things, and specifically for lunch for folks who are kosher and halal. We ask that you go to a server and they will bring you a kosher or halal meal. There will be vegan options like in I will probably have a buffet setup. So in the buffet setup, there will be vegan options, and each card will have like the ingredients listed for each side or meal. So for sure, we will have lots of options for folks. And if you have very specific dietary needs, please put those in the registration. I do read and look at all of the dietary restrictions and accessibility accommodations. So if you need an interpreter, or any other assistive devices, it'd be really great to know beforehand, and then we can get that settled. And I definitely reach out to folks to, especially for specific needs, to ensure that and we also will have a lactation room, which we'll probably talk about in further, but and just in terms of accessibility, we'll have a lactation room as well for folks who are breastfeeding.
This is all something we think a lot about, in case that wasn't just made really clear. So we love getting questions about this, and we would love to talk to you about any needs that you have, because it's really important to us that that the entire conference be as easy as possible for as many people as possible.
And you can reach out to me directly if you have questions about any like sort of dietary needs. And I reach out to the hotel. The main thing is making sure that the hotel knows that those needs, that your needs are met.
Thank you, Crystalline. Let's move over to Charlotte to cover programming.
Let's talk about the program. Okay. Well, we have a fantastic program for you this year, yet again. If you have gone to the agenda page, and I hope at this point you have all gone to the agenda page, you're going to see a lot of ways to process this agenda. So here's the thing. TrustCon is 3 days. We use all 3 days and really pack in as much agenda as we can, with the principle that we don't want to make people feel too much FOMO, and also understanding that there's going to be a little FOMO. There's just the way that like the practice of trust and safety works is there's going to be a lot of overlapping interests. There's going to be a bunch of sessions. You're like, oh, I wish I could go to this one and that one, and they're at the same time. So I want to talk just a little bit about like, how do you navigate that? How do you choose? And a lot of that just starts with, using the filters on the agenda. So when you go to the agenda, you're going to see a bunch of different filters up top. You'll see filter by track, filter by session themes, filter by session type, and filter by audience. These are the tools you can use to sort of narrow down what it is you're interested in and what it is you're able to attend. So I really recommend starting with session themes. Session themes are basically like, here's all the kinds of stuff that might get covered in a session. So you might say, oh, I'm interested in offline harms, right? Or I'm interested in scaling trust and safety, whatever that is. That'll immediately bring you to all the sessions, all 3 days that that are sort of touching on that topic. It's not comprehensive. A lot of these sessions are going to cover a lot of these themes, but this is sort of general. You do need to tab between the 3 days. So if you like apply a filter, you're going to be brought to Mondays first, and then you're going to want to go, okay, tab Tuesday, tab Wednesday, but that's a sticky filter. You can also filter by session type. So if you are interested, for example, in attending a workshop or finding a panel that one of your friends is on, things like that, you'll be able to find those more easily using the session type filter. Finally, audience. So most sessions at TrustCon are all TrustCon attendees. So that means no matter whether you're a professional or you are a student, you are a researcher, you're allowed to go to that session. There are 2 other types of session audience restrictions. One is only TSPA members. So for those sessions, we don't have that many this year. The main one is probably our town hall, which is members only. We will be checking badges at the door to be sure that you've got a little sticker or you've got a little badge stamp on there that says that you're a member. If you arrive at TrustCon and you know you're a member, but you don't have that little sticker, definitely go to the help desk and they can get you set up with that. Finally, we do have a audience filter for no press. So if you are a member of the media attending, you should use that filter to know what you cannot go to. Just short note on press, we do have, I think it's around 6 press passes out this year. Otherwise, Otherwise, you can attend if you're a member of the press, but we do ask that you pay a full price ticket. What we're noticing is that mostly people don't, because a full price non-member ticket is out of the budget for a number of these organizations. So you can expect to have, under 10 probably folks from the media at TrustCon this year. They do wear really, let's see, what color are their lanyards this year? Yellow? I think, yes, they have bright yellow lanyards. Everything is, nothing's on the record unless someone says it's on the record. So just something, to know about press. Also, they're excited to be here, so it's going to be a good crowd. In terms of going just back to the agenda, you are going to want to get to the sessions you want to go to early, and past TrustCon attendees have experienced this. If it is important to you to have a seat in a session that's really important to you, ditch the networking, grab that coffee, and get over there, because those rooms do fill up. We are making larger rooms this year, so as Crystal and Maggie mentioned, we have the whole space this year. And so we have been able to, like if you were in one of the little Seacliff rooms last year, we're combining those into 2 larger Seacliff rooms. And so you'll have a little more wiggle room there. We do expect to have a few more attendees this year though, too. And so we want to be sure that folks aren't feeling like sardines, but we also can't guarantee you a spot in a session except for a workshop, which we'll talk about in a moment. Or unless you're one of the speakers, in which case, please be there, on time, even early. We do not reserve seats in session. There was someone last year who said, "Oh, I need to go in even though the room is full. I have a VIP seat." We were like, "Whoa, I didn't know we had those," right? That we don't have those. That's not a thing. And if a room is at capacity, we are going to be asking the volunteers to sort of manage the door. If someone tells you the room is at capacity, please be kind to them and pick another session, because they're volunteers and they're giving us their time and they don't want to argue about it, and you don't want to argue about it either. The good news is we have a giant agenda, and there's going to be something else that works for you in that time if you can't get into that session. There will be an app launching a couple weeks, week or two before TrustCon. It is going to allow you to sort of like build your agenda, put things in that are important to you, you don't want to forget. It does not reserve your seat, right? Like it doesn't mean, you're in, guaranteed you can be late, but it does allow you to kind of sort of map out where you're going to be. Let's talk really briefly just about how presentations and lightning talks work. If you've been to TrustCon before, you know this, but the way we do those sessions is we group 2 presentations into what we call a session, so an hour-long slot, and we group 5 to 7 lightning talks into that same slot. So if you're going into a presentation, you'll see that they're back-to-back within the room. Each presentation is 20 minutes-ish of talking and 5 minutes-ish of Q&A, and then the next person goes, and then the session lets out at the end of the time slot. We cannot prohibit you from coming in halfway or leaving halfway. And we don't actually want to do that because, like you might have work to do. It's kind of like what happens at TrustCon is everyone is here and also on call. But we do ask you to be mindful about which sessions you attend for presentations, because it's not a great feeling to have like half the audience stand up and leave, after like when you're going on stage. We've tried to be really thoughtful about how we pair those presentations so that they're relevant to everyone coming in, and they'll want to stay the whole time and really engage with both of the presenters and the rest of the audience, right? Because that's a group of folks who have chosen that topic. Chances are you're going to meet some interesting people who are interested in the same kinds of stuff as you. Similar with lightning talks. Lightning talks are 5 to 7 minute talks. We put 5 to 7 of them together in a room, and they go back to back, and there's questions at the end. So those are actually a really cool opportunity to get a lot of information in kind of bite-sized chunks. You can meet a lot of different people there. Those again are grouped thematically, and you'll have a chance to ask as many questions as you like at the end. Maybe not as many as you like, but a lot. Let's see, looking at, I think that's covered this slide up into press. We do have closed door sessions I'm sorry, I said that and I'm like, oh, wait, I got to talk about closed door sessions. we have a few closed door sessions this year, and this is actually new for TrustCon. So listen up. This year, the Tech Coalition is sponsoring a child safety track with us. We're very excited. We have incredible child safety programming this year, and I know a lot of other folks are excited about that. They also, Tech Coalition, are going to be hosting a set of closed door sessions on Wednesday afternoon. Those are invite only. If your employer is a member of the Tech Coalition, just get in touch with your contact there and they can work out sort of, oh, who's going to that? You want to go to that? Cool, here you go. If you are not a member of the Tech Coalition, but you're interested in learning more about the child safety track, certainly get in touch with us, trustcon@tspa.org, and we can connect you to the right person over at Tech Coalition to work out your attendance. Similarly, Trust and Safety Foundation, which is our sibling nonprofit, is hosting a closed door roundtable on language, it's sort of language tooling and majority world on day 3 on Wednesday. You're going to see that on the program. That is invite only. You can let us know if you want to come, but I think that guest list is actually pretty set. If you go by a session and it is closed door and you don't have an invitation, don't go in. We'll try to have people outside sort of answering questions about that. But in general, if you see that signage, know that's something you had to sign up for in advance. Moving on, speaking of things you have to sign up for in advance. Yeah, workshops. Okay. We have an incredible set of workshops this year. Main change to workshops is all of these are going to now be downstairs. We didn't have any of downstairs last year. We have all of downstairs this year. So if you are in a workshop, you're going to have that down in the Pacific Concourse, which is the lower level. You do need to sign up for workshops ahead of time. So we are going to be launching the ability to log back into your registration and say, yes, I would like to attend this workshop. Workshops are 90 to 120 minutes. They are smaller. They're collaborative, right? You don't go just expecting to listen. You go to collaborate with other people, to trade ideas, to learn from the facilitators, to practice a skill set, things like that. When workshop signups open, you do want to have a pretty good sense early on about which workshops you're interested in attending, because they do fill up really quickly, sometimes even same day when we launch that. So if you're interested in workshops, please use that filter. Check out all the workshops ahead of time. So when sign up opens, you're ready and you can sign up. If you can avoid it, please don't sign up for all the workshops, because that's actually probably not realistic. There's probably some other stuff you want to go to. And critically, if you sign up for a workshop, it's really important that you go to the workshop, because they are, they're like first come, first serve. They're sign up ahead of time. We had a few workshops last year where people were like, oh, I'm enjoying networking and I'm having a great time, and it's okay if I don't go to the workshop. Well, the facilitator was kind of waiting for you. And so and if you don't show up, it can be tricky to then communicate to the wait list, like, oh, we have room, right? It's just a difficult, it's a difficult logistics experience. So if you want to go to a workshop, please mean it. Please sign up for it. Please attend it. If you do not have a chance to sign up for a workshop before you're on site, or if a workshop you were really interested in fills up, we will have the ability for you to go down there and kind of do wait in line and see if you can get in. We do expect most of the workshops to have a little bit of wiggle room, because there is always sort of some day of attendee drop off. We're hoping less than last year. But the workshop facilitators are really excited to be meeting all of you this year. Some of them are going to be sending out pre-work. So if you sign up for one that has pre-work, do the pre-work. But it's going to be a cool time. I went out of order and already talked about back-to-back sessions. So sorry.
That's
Pure
okay.
chaos.
We have 2 workshop related questions and then a volunteer question. So when do workshop signups open? Should be a couple weeks before.
Yeah, I think it's 2 weeks before, 2-ish weeks before. If it's ready sooner, we will launch it sooner. But we're still working with the facilitators on capacity and pre-reads and what their supply list is.
Yes, and attendees will get communications from us. So you can find when they open, you will get an email directly from us. And then the second question is, can I sign up for workshops within the app? No, but you can sign up. The best way to sign up or the only way to sign up for workshops is actually by logging into the registration flow. So once workshops open, you log back into your registration. You could do that on your phone, but I would recommend doing it on your computer. And then I don't remember which step it is, but it says workshops on it. It's like step 3 or something. There'll be a new tab open that allows you to select what workshops you are wanting to attend.
Yeah.
And then we had one more question before we move on to, let's see. Do you have anything else that you wanted to talk to back-to-back sessions or anything like that? Okay. In general, do we need more volunteers? I can talk a little bit about the community opportunities for engagement. There are a couple of specific opportunities to engage and volunteer if you'd like to, but I don't think we actually are looking for any more general TrustCon volunteers. Is that correct?
That's correct. Currently, our volunteer applications are closed. We may have some drop off from volunteers, so you can reach out to TrustCon at tspa.org. And we have a wonderful TrustCon admin, Gabby Tangasi, who is managing the volunteer process, and she can reach out to you to see if there's like any way to become a volunteer. So not saying it's highly unlikely, but we could have some openings. So
yeah, I think especially if you're a local to TrustCon, the main wiggliness at this stage is a volunteer isn't able to travel or something like that. So if you're local and you're like, I'm planning on being there anyway, shoot us a note and we can mark that down.
And the last question here before we move on to community engagement is, where can I find more information about Agenda app and its functionalities? Is it something to use to try and meet with other professionals?
Yes, happy to take this one. So the Agenda app will have all of the sessions. We'll also be doing announcements throughout the app. You'll also have some of our sponsor exhibitor information. We will have, I believe, just like the attendee list, you won't be able to connect with like a chat. There won't be a chat functionality within the app, but you will kind of have an idea of the professionals that will be at the event.
Let's talk about community. Okay, we have a lot of opportunities to connect and network this TrustCon. So whether it's your first TrustCon or your third TrustCon like Charlotte, there are some new opportunities here. So one of the top questions that we always get is /comments is, we're so excited to meet with all of you at TrustCon. Can't wait to see you in person. And would love to meet with TSPA in person. We would also love to connect and meet with you. We have a staff of 8 total people, and we're running all of TrustCon in combination with all of our volunteers. And so there are some guaranteed times that I like to call out where you can find us and connect with us. And then outside of those times, hopefully we get to connect more, but these are just some guaranteed times where, in case we're running around other times, this is where you can get a hold of us. So first opportunity is TSPA pre-check, which is at pre-registration. There will be a separate area outside of the registration table that is called TSPA pre-check, and it is an opportunity to come and learn about all of the different opportunities to engage at TrustCon. That could be networking and community events. It could also be navigating the agenda or any other types of questions that you have. There may be a couple of surprises if you come over to the pre-check booth. There may be some fun surprises there, so I would encourage you to check it out. Throughout TrustCon, there will also be an info desk, and this is separate from registration. So something we noticed last year is that when people had questions, they were going to registration and weren't quite sure where to get a hold of us. And so they would stop by registration. In order to help you move through registration quickly, we are separating that this year from an information booth where you can go and ask us questions, similar questions to TSPA pre-check, where you can ask questions about the agenda. Maybe a session was full and you're wondering what else is similar. Maybe you just have questions about where to go for coffee chats. We're around at the info booth to chat with you. We will also have a welcome reception, so please come to that. That is we will all be there to hang out and connect with you. We would love to see you there, and it's going to be really fun. So please stop by welcome reception. And then there will be 2 other opportunities to connect with us. One is a members town hall. So that will be an opportunity to hear from us and also some community members who've led various efforts within TSPA over the years. And then there's also a general attendee open house where you can come and learn more about TSPA and ask questions. So those are some opportunities to connect with TSPA staff. There are lots of opportunities to connect with attendees. So all of these are going to be reflected on the community hub, which is a tab on the TrustCon website. So if you go to trustcon.net, you can head over to the community hub and you'll find these opportunities. They're also, most of them are reflected in the main agenda. So you'll see them reflected in the conference agenda as well. First one is Quick Connections. So Quick Connections is an opportunity to meet with other attendees for a quick 5-minute connection. You'll kind of rotate tables and meet people, not for extended periods of time, but just like a quick intro to another person. If you're looking to network and find new people at TrustCon who you don't know, this is really good for solo or first-time attendees, but it's also great if you know your team really well and you're looking to branch out and meet people at other companies or in the broader trust and safety community. We have coffee chats again this year, so we'll be doing a live version of our online virtual coffee chats program. We'll have volunteer hosts who are going to be down in the Pacific Concourse. That will be first come, first served, similar to last year, where you can meet for 15 to 20 minutes with a coffee host and get some advice about a specific issue or just connect with somebody who's been in the space for a long time. If you are a coffee host and you are at this session, we still have spots available for hosts. So if you'd like to participate, email Christy and you can, or if you're not sure what her email is, you can just email contact@TSPA and we can connect you. We're looking for more hosts for coffee chats still, so you're welcome to do that. New this year is TrustCon Buddies. So Buddies is a way to sign up to be matched with another attendee for either breakfast or lunch. So basically you fill out a quick form. That form is available on the TrustCon website at the community hub. And all you need to do is let us know your contact information and what times you're roughly available. And then a little before TrustCon, we will connect you with another attendee and you'll facilitate whether you want to do breakfast or lunch and meet up. It's a really great way to meet new people and connect with somebody for a little longer period of time. So Quick Connections is the fastest opportunity. Coffee chats is a little longer. And then Buddies is sort of like the longest. Birds of a Feather have been super popular both years that we've done TrustCon, and we're bringing them back this year. So these are a series of after program events that are hosted and sponsored by companies. We're really excited about the opportunities we have this year. So check those out. Those are live and you're able to sign up for them. And those are also on the TrustCon website. If you go to trustcon.net and then go to, there is under program, there is a specific tab for Birds of a Feather. Community meetups. So we have a bunch of community members who are hosting lunches this year for specific topics. Like we've got our legal circle hosting one. We have one for offline harm companies. And so all you need to do you do not need to sign up for those. You'll just show up and you can find the times and locations for all of those under the community hub tab as well. Exhibits. So we have a lot of exhibits this year in Market Street Foyer and the Grand Ballroom Foyer. We have really creative exhibitors. Those of you who've been the last couple of years probably already know this. If you are looking for a fun way to engage, and also if you're looking for specific types of service, I really encourage you to check these out. They will be throughout the event. I'm just checking for, yes, I have a question on Birds of a Feather. Are Birds of a Feather events free? Yes, they are free. You do need to sign up for them, but they are free. One note on Birds of a Feather is that they do have capacity limits. So make sure that if you're interested in signing up for one of these, that you log back into registration and choose which Birds of a Feather you may be interested in attending. Just because they do hit capacity, sort of similar to workshops. It would be great to think ahead of like, which things do I really want to go to, so that those folks who are hosting Birds of a Feather kind of know what to expect.
Yeah, same thing there, right? Like you can try to sign up for all the Birds of a Feather. Don't though, because you're gonna want to go to one and enjoy it. And sometimes people do, right? Sometimes you're like, oh, I have friends going to both and I'm gonna sign up for two. If you're doing that, please be sure that you in fact then go attend two, because the last thing we want is for someone to come to TrustCon hosting a Birds of a Feather, say like, oh, I'm gonna give this gift to the community. And then like, you know, the San Francisco flake, right, happens. So be realistic also about your participation limits.
That's true. And speaking of participation limits, we have a couple of spaces that are just more passive community spaces this year. Some of them are from last year, but some of them are new. So one of the new opportunities is our wellness room. We have a wellness space dedicated to recharging this year. It's going to be a completely quiet space. We'll have yoga mats, we'll have coloring books, we will have little QR codes for meditations, different things that you can engage with at your own leisure. But it's really a space for you to go and just get away from some of the overstimulation that can happen after being at an event for a couple of days. I know for myself, once we hit, middle of day 2, I need a couple minutes to recharge. And so we've set aside a space that has also natural light in it. So what's another benefit is that you can kind of enjoy some natural light in that room. If you can take advantage of that. I also encourage you, as Crystalline said in the beginning, to take a walk at some point. I think last year at some point on the end of day 2, we all realized we hadn't left the hotel in quite a while. And so if you are doing something like meeting up with a buddy, it would be a great opportunity to do that outside and take a small walk. Or if you're meeting up, even if you're meeting up with somebody for sort of a business reason, remind yourself to step out of the hotel at some point in the 3 days that we're there. Quiet spots to work. So obviously trust and safety knows no sleep in some ways. And so we of course know that sometimes things come up and you need to respond to an escalation, or you just want to check your email to make sure your coverage plan is working, or maybe you even want to just go through your slides, make a couple of changes. We do have a couple of quiet spots to work. So there is a recharge room that is separate from the wellness room. So the wellness room is not a working room. It's just to relax and recharge. The recharge room is specifically for working. It has desks, it has power strips, and it is also a silent room. So it's not a room for meetings. It's not a room for calls. It's just a room to kind of do independent, quiet work. There will also be privacy pods again this year. So those of you who've come in the past years, or last year we had individual privacy pods. Those are spaces where you could take a quick call or have a meeting. And so they are individual spots for you to duck out of the conference for a little bit and have a meeting if you need to. And finally, we have the community lounge. So the community lounge is also a community space. It is a little bit more social than the wellness room. So it'll be sort of like a living room area. It has some games in it, couches, comfy spots to sit and relax and socialize. So encourage you to head over there as well and check that out. We also have just comfy seating throughout the floors. So if you need a quiet spot to just chill for a second, we've got some comfy seating throughout the floors. Okay, I have one other question on community events. Could you go back and explain quick connections again? Thank you in advance. You're welcome in advance. Hopefully this explanation is clear. So quick connections is basically a networking opportunity where you will show up and we will pair you with another attendee who's also shown up to Quick Connections. You meet and chat for 5 to 10 minutes. We have prompts on the table for you to chat through, and then we'll rotate you so that you meet a new person. So that activity is about half an hour, and you'll get the opportunity to meet like, 7 to 8 people throughout that experience. And they're designed for you to make a quick connection with somebody, but not designed for deeper conversation. Unless you're very efficient with your deep conversations.
Amazing opportunity for folks who are coming to TrustCon, maybe an introvert like me, and are like, all right, I know I'm here because I need to network, but you're just not sure where to start, right? Like this is an intentional space where it's like, worst case, you leave the conference, you've met 8 new people that you can, sort of follow up with later. But it kind of just breaks the ice. You're going to see the people you meet in Quick Connections all through the event, and allows you to kind of just get a jump start on meeting people who you don't already know or aren't already working with.
And just a note here, since I know we've talked about things like signups, really the only thing on this list, there's 2 things on this list that require signups. One is Birds of a Feather. I think I kind of covered that, but I just want to emphasize, if you're interested in Birds of a Feather, definitely go check those out and sign up. And then the second one is TrustCon Buddies. In order to match you with somebody, we'll need to have your information and know who the people are who want to be matched. So there's a form that's live now for you to share that information. And then we'll share about a week out from the event, we will match you with the person that you'll be chatting with. And so those are the only 2 things here that require signups. Everything else is pretty much first come, first serve. I'm just double checking myself on that. Yes, that is correct. And then the only thing that's a little bit limited is the town hall. So town hall is open to members. Everything else here is something that you're able to show up to at any time. Okay. Oh, yes. And then one other thing that I actually did not cover that I should have covered is our boardroom. So we do have a boardroom available. It is day 1. It's just Monday, I believe. That you are able to show up to sign up and have a specific meeting. I think they're limited to an hour, but those are first come, first serve as well. And they kind of work like, let's see, you basically show up and there's a sheet and you just write your name in. So if you're interested in having a 1-hour meeting and you need to meet with a group of people, that is something that you can do. And in order to sign up, you need to go physically there and sign up on the sign up sheet. And that's all on the boardroom.
Like meetings that you need to have that you can't cram into a privacy pod, and you can't have in the recharge room because it's a quiet room.
Yes. Okay. With that, I'm going to open it up to questions. I think we got to a decent amount of questions throughout, but if there's any other questions, please feel free to ask them. I'm going to actually stop sharing my screen so that here we go.
I can't believe hasn't come up yet, and maybe this is just the era we live in, is no one has asked about dress code. I'm like, oh. I will answer my own question, which is you should wear what you are comfortable wearing. TrustCon does take place on the West Coast. Shout out to my home coast. So it is not as formal as maybe some of the other conferences you have been to professionally. You will see people wearing blazers, right? Like it's classic. You don't have to wear a blazer. I might not wear a blazer, not all the time. I think it's kind of what you would wear in a return to office situation is totally appropriate for TrustCon. Wear comfortable shoes because you're going to be hoofing it to all these different sessions. You might be going out to one of these birds of a feather. You might be walking between events, right? So just, be thinking about comfort. we are going to be running air conditioning in the summer. San Francisco, people always tell the joke like, oh, the coldest winter I ever spent was the summer in San Francisco. That can be true. Weather has been good for us the last few years, but it can be chilly. It might be chilly indoors with the air conditioning. So, plan for layers. Those of you who have been to the Dallas Crimes Against Children conference, it's not that chilly, so you don't need to go full snuggie. But certainly come prepared with layers in San Francisco generally.
Something that I always want to know about conferences is what are the networking opportunities that aren't necessarily oriented around drinking. So I mean, I do drink, but sometimes I don't drink and I just don't feel like it. I've actually found that San Francisco, I don't know if this is new or it's always been this way, is really friendly on the non-alcoholic cocktails. So I think that people have upped their game on the like craft cocktails that are non-alcoholic. But with the idea of folks who don't feel like drinking or aren't drinking for any reason, we also have one Birds of a Feather that we are running. It's called Trust Camp, and it'll happen on Tuesday. You do need to sign up so that we have an idea of who's coming, but it is open to everyone, and it will be a non-drinking activity based event. So we'll have games like we did last year. We'll have activities, we'll have delicious desserts and some non-alcoholic beverages. But if you're looking for a space to network that won't be oriented around drinking, that is one opportunity. And then there's definitely some other activities throughout the 3 days that are not oriented around drinking, just throughout the day. So, but if you're looking for an evening activity, that is one safe bet. All right. Let's see. Which aspect of TrustCon does TSPA believe is most valuable to the field of trust and safety? Networking, presentations, industry insights, innovation, and technology.
So I like that they're writing our highlights reel here.
Yeah, kidding.
I would love to give an answer to this, and it'd be interested if the team, you want to add to it as well. TrustCon, there's actually something that you didn't put on this list that I think TrustCon is incredibly valuable to the field of trust and safety, and that is providing like a really official place for our trust and safety professionals to practice talking about their work. So, I mentioned at the top of the call that TrustCon is 3 years old. This will be our third TrustCon. Before TrustCon, it was really hard as a professional, especially like a more junior professional, to find a place that you could like talk about your work in a professional setting and get that public speaking experience, get that presentation skills experience, actually share your work product with people who are doing something similar or had interesting thoughts that you could take back to your own practice. So in a lot of ways, we view TrustCon, like the most important element of TrustCon is actually that it's providing a reason for people all around the world in our field to get together to have that experience as professionals. Yes, also networking is very important. My dad always used to say, Charlotte, networking's the most important thing. And I'd be like, oh, dude. And now, of course, like I work for the professional association. But networking is really important, and not just like the fake networking where it's like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. Like it is really critical that we all understand how each other are working in this field, because there's no rule book for this, right? Like the way you learn how to do this job is on the job, and hearing how other people do it and sharing your ideas about how to do it, that's a huge development opportunity for people's individual practice. So, networking, yes, we hope you also make a friend. Last year, people were interviewing at TrustCon. That's cool. We hope you get a job. But fundamentally, what networking is about when we talk about it at TSPA, it's about helping people understand they're not alone in what they do, and making sure that they walk out of that opportunity understanding they have backup in the world.
Yeah. I really do think that this is going back to something I said at the very, very beginning about feeling overwhelmed and just going to conferences generally. I am someone who sits down and really does try to optimize my schedule. And I do think that it is really important to not overextend how many sessions you're planning to go to, so that you can make space to have those deeper conversations. Because I find that once you get there and you meet someone through quick connections, or you see someone that you haven't seen in a long time, time can kind of run away from you. But that's part of what TrustCon is for, and that's part of why you would go to these events. So I hate to be like all of it's important, but all of it's important. Actually, similar question here is navigating the agenda can be really daunting. Any sessions that stand out that are a must in your opinion? So, I have an answer to this, but I would be curious for anybody else's answer to this as well. I think that there's a cop-out answer to this, which is it totally depends on where you are in your career and what what you're trying to optimize for. But then there's like I approach this more from like a process perspective. So I think about like what are my personal professional growth goals, and then what are the aspects of trust and safety that I am most trying to grow in, and meaning like what practical skills am I trying to build, what like areas are most critical to the progress of my own work. And then I sort by those types of filters, and I look for a couple of really strong sessions that I feel like look like they most meet the goals that I'm trying to meet. I also, if you happen to be attending with a team or with a couple of other people from your team, I would sit down as a team and talk about what are your team goals and priorities, so that you're not all feeling pressure to go to every single session, and instead can optimize like through your team and not just through one person, if that is something that you're doing. But I'm curious, anyone else have opinions on this, how you would approach? The other thing I would just say is, I know that I said to look at the agenda ahead of time, and you should. But we are also around on site. So if you're like wanting advice about a specific topic and you're wanting to talk through a specific set of sessions, we'll be there on site. And if you stop at the info booth, we can help you look over the agenda and pick out some sessions if that is less overwhelming.
And though these are not technically sessions, I do think that our morning plenary and keynotes are a wonderful opportunity to like meet folks beforehand. And we have some, I'm not sure if our keynotes are live yet, but we have some really great keynotes happening this year, and panels happening in the morning. So.
Yeah.
The next question is, how many sessions will be recorded for later viewing, or what is the criteria for which sessions will be recorded? And I wanted to answer this live because we actually got another question about recording earlier. So this year we are only recording the plenary sessions, and those will be available later. We are not recording any of the other sessions. And that was a decision we went back and forth a lot on. Some of you who were here last year or who were virtual attendees last year know that we did a lot of recording last year. We found in posting those recordings that not actually a lot of people watched them, which is fine, right? We're all busy. I'm one of those people who's like, bookmark it, save it for later, and then I never go back. So like, that's me. It's very expensive to do that type of recording. And so the decision we made this year was to pull back on recording to try to keep costs down for attendees in particular, and make sure that we can break even on the event. If you all attend and you fill out the survey and say, wow, the thing I really needed was more sessions to be recorded, we absolutely can feed that back into the plan. But this year we cut way back on recording to see if we can use that money in other ways.
All right. Any final questions? We are about to wrap up. So anyone thinking about a question where they're like, I don't know if I should ask this, go ahead, go for it. Now's your time.
Now's your moment.
You can ask us questions anytime. We just use this time in order to try to get as many questions answered in one place as possible. Again, if you have folks on your team who are new to TrustCon, they might want to check this out. Or if you have folks who are attending, it might be helpful. And
the recording of this is going to get posted soon. So we just got a question like, I'm sorry I'm late. Like, great, no problem. You're going to be able to watch this really soon. We'll get this posted.
yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we can't wait to see all of you, especially because we can't see you now because it's a webinar. This really is such a labor of love from our team and our community. We have between the volunteers from the program committee, the volunteers on site, we end up having over 200 people from the trust and safety professional community involved in putting on TrustCon this year. It's a huge effort, and I know all of us are just really excited to see how it comes together. We're really excited to have you there to experience it. And as my team said, you know, if you ever have a question along the way, there is no question too small. There are questions we might tell you, look at the FAQs, we wrote it. But certainly if it's not in the FAQs, we'd love to connect with you and get your questions answered, because we want this to be just a really, you know, easy and enjoyable experience for you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Oh, I should end the recording.
Yeah. Stay safe out there.